The War Medal 1939–1945 is a campaign medal which was instituted by the United Kingdom on 16 August 1945, for award to subjects of the British Commonwealth who had served full-time in the armed forces of the Merchant Navy for at least 28 days between 3 September 1939 and 2 September 1945. Institution. The duration of the Second World War in Europe was from 3 September 1939 to 8 May 1945, while in the Pacific Theatre it continued until 2 September 1945. The War Medal 1939–1945 was instituted by the United Kingdom on 16 August 1945, and was awarded to all full-time personnel of the armed forces and merchant marines for serving for 28 days, irrespective of where they were serving, between 3 September 1939 and 2 September 1945 inclusive. The full duration of the Second World War. In the Merchant Navy, the 28 days had to have been served anywhere at sea. Award criteria. The qualification requirement for the award of the War Medal 1939–1945 to full-time military personnel was 28 days of service wherever rendered. Qualifying service in the Merchant Navy was 28 days of service anywhere at sea during the qualifying period. Foreign subjects commissioned or enlisted into British forces, who did not receive a similar award to the War Medal 1939–1945 from their own governments, were also eligible to qualify for the award of this medal. Full-time paid members of the specially approved colonial and other military forces, militarized police or militarized civilian bodies which were eligible to qualify for campaign stars, were also eligible to qualify by 28 days of service during the qualifying period as laid down for the force concerned, as follows. Aid and Armed Police from 3 February 1939 to 2 September 1945. British Honduras Defence Force from 3 September 1939 to 3 December 1939. British Guiana Constabulary, excluding those who ceased to belong to the force for reasons other than death, ill health or age, for 3 September 1939 to 14 July 1945. British Guiana Military Band from 29 April 1942 to 8 May 1945. Cyprus Police Force employed on full-time military service from 10 June 1940 to 12 June 1941. Cyprus Volunteer Force from 2 June 1941 to 2 September 1945. Gambia Police Force from 5 July 1940 to 17 August 1940. Gambian Army Inland Water Transport on the SS Munshi from 21 July 1942 to 31 May 1944. Gibraltar Defence Force from 3 September 1939 to 2 March 1940. Nigeria Police Force from 23 July 1940 to 8 May 1945. Palestine Police Force from 27 May 1942 to 8 May 1945. Sudan Defence Force for full-time permanent service anywhere in the Sudan from 3 September 1939 to 8 May 1945. Trinidad Police Force from 3 September 1939 to 2 September 1945. Zanzibar Police Force from 3 September 1939 to 2 September 1945. The qualification for the specially approved categories of uniformed civilians who were eligible to qualify for campaign stars was 28 days of service in the area of an Army operational command overseas, or overseas from or outside the country of residence in non-operational areas subjected to enemy air attack or closely threatened. Service in the United Kingdom or in the territory of residence other than in an Army operational area was not a qualification. The medal was awarded to personnel whose required service period was terminated prematurely by the death, disability due to service or capture as a prisoner of war and whose service qualified them for one of the Second World War campaign stars. Personnel who had received one of the stars for a service period of less than 28 days were also awarded the War Medal 1939 to 1945. Order of wear. Campaign medals and stars are not listed by name in the order of wear prescribed by the British Central Chancery of the Orders of Knighthood, but are all grouped together as taking precedence after the Queen's Medal for Chiefs and before the Polar Medals, in order of the date of the campaign for which awarded. In the order of wear of the Second World War campaign medals, the 2 campaign medals take precedence after the 9 campaign stars, of which the order of wear was determined firstly by the respective campaign start dates, secondly by the campaign's duration and thirdly by the dates of institution. The 1939 to 1945 star from 3 September 1939 to 2 September 1945, the full duration of the Second World War. The Atlantic Star from 3 September 1939 to 8 May 1945, the duration of the Battle of the Atlantic and the war in Europe. The Arctic Star from 3 September 1939 to 8 May 1945, the duration of the Battle of the Atlantic and the war in Europe. The Aircrew Europe Star from 3 September 1939 to 5 June 1944, the period until D-Day-1. The Africa Star for 10 June 1940 to 12 May 1943, the duration of the North African Campaign. The Pacific Star for 8 December 1941 to 2 September 1945, the duration of the Pacific War. The Burma Star from 11 December 1941 to 2 September 1945, the duration of the Burma Campaign. The Italy Star from 11 June 1943 to 8 May 1945, the duration of the Italian Campaign. The France and Germany Star from 6 June 1944 to 8 May 1945, the duration of the Northwest Europe Campaign. The Defense Medal from 3 September 1939 to 2 September 1945, the full duration of the Second World War. The War Medal 1939 to 1945 from 3 September 1939 to 2 September 1945, the full duration of the Second World War. In the British Order of Wear, the War Medal 1939 to 1945 takes precedence before the Career Medal. South Africa with effect from 6 April 1952, when a new South African set of decorations and medals was instituted to replace the British awards used to date. The older British decorations and medals applicable to South Africa continued to be worn in the same order of precedence, but, with the exception of the Victoria Cross, took precedence after all South African orders. Decorations and medals awarded to South Africans on or after the date of the official British campaign medals which were applicable to South Africans. The War Medal 1939 to 1945 takes precedence as shown, preceded by the Defence Medal, succeeded by the Africa Service Medal, Description: the War Medal 1939–1945 is a silver copro-nickel disc, 36 mm in diameter. The non-swiveling suspender is attached to the medal with a single toe claw mount on a pin through the upper edge of the medal. The British issue medals were struck in copro-nickel, while those awarded in Canada were struck in silver. The medal is sometimes incorrectly referred to as the Victory Medal for the Second World War. Obverse: the obverse shows the crowned coinage effigy of King George VI, facing left and signed PM, the initials of designer Percy Metcalfe, below the truncated neck of the effigy. Around the perimeter is the legend GEORGIVSFID, GBR, Rex ETINDIA imp. Reverse: the reverse shows a lion standing wanton on the body of a double-headed dragon. The dragon's heads are those of an eagle and a dragon, to signify the principal Occidental and Oriental enemies during the Second World War. At the top, just to the right of center of the years 1939 and 1945, in two lines, the initials ECRP of designer Edward Carter Preston are near the rim at the 9 o'clock position. Preston also designed the bronze memorial plaque which was presented to the next of kin of British servicemen and women who fell during the First World War. Naming as with the other Second World War campaign medals, a no engraving policy was applied by all but 4 British Commonwealth countries. The recipient's name was impressed on the rim of the medal for Australians, some Canadians, Indians and South Africans. Those awarded to personnel of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police who served only on the RCMP Street rocket of the Canadian Merchant Marine were named. In the case of Indians, the recipient's force number, rank, initials, surname and service armor corps, and in the case of South Africans, the force number, initials and surname were impressed on the rim in block capitals. Ribbon: the ribbon is 32 mm wide, with a 6.5 mm wide red band, a 6.5 mm wide blue band and a 2 mm wide white band, repeated in reverse order and separated by a 2 mm wide red band. The colors are those of the British Union Jack. Emblems: a bronze oak leaf emblem is worn on the ribbon to signify a mention in dispatches, and a silver oak leaf emblem is worn to signify the award of a King's Commendation for brave conduct.